Selamat siang semuanya, semua peserta yang sudah datang hari ini. Acara akan dimulai. Saya persilahkan kepada Pak Dimas Hartawan sebagai moderator dari IAI untuk bisa memulai acara ini. Terima kasih.
Baik, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang dan salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Perkenalkan, saya Dimas Hartawan. Saya dipanggil oleh Pak Aswin karena saya anggota badannya Pak Robi. Kebetulan di sini ada Pak Robi Dwiko Juliardi. Beliau adalah Ketua Ikatan Arsitek Indonesia Jawa Barat. Saya anggota salah satu badan Pak Robi, Badan Apresiasi Profesi. Selain itu saya juga adalah dosen di kampus tetangga di agak ke utara sedikit. Saya koordinator studio akhir di sana. Saya akan jadi moderator untuk acara simposium kita hari ini. Terima kasih dan suatu kebanggaan buat saya untuk mengucapkan selamat datang pada semua yang telah meluangkan waktu untuk hadir siang ini. Saya kira nanti di akhir acara kita akan dapat tambahan wawasan yang luar biasa ya, karena tamu-tamunya ini walaupun datang dengan latar belakang yang berbeda-beda, tapi rasanya pandangan-pandangan mereka tentang arsitektur kayaknya sesuatu yang sangat berharga untuk dibagi di siang hari ini. Oke, nah tema simposium kita di hari ini mungkin teman-teman semua udah baca di leaflet atau di poster yang udah diadakan online ya. Jadi simposium hari ini kita punya tema Bandung Cityscapes, Tradition versus Innovation, Evolution of Charter of Place. Jadi sebenarnya tujuannya untuk mendorong kesempatan untuk bertukar pikiran ya, dan juga mendorong terjadinya dialog antara kaum profesional baik lokal maupun internasional gitu ya. Hari ini kita akan membagi simposium ini ke dalam beberapa bagian ya. Sebenarnya ada dua panel diskusi utama di mana nanti pembicara akan membagikan, men-share pengalaman profesional mereka dan dengan sudut pandang yang berbeda-beda bagaimana mereka mempromot lahirnya inovasi di dalam konteks kultural di mana kita berada gitu ya. Lalu nanti kita akan melanjutkan sesi diskusi yang akan dimoderatori oleh saya. Jadi simposium hari ini akan berjalan cukup dinamis saja. Saya pikir semuanya santai, nggak ada yang kalau misalnya nanti ada pertanyaan di akhir di sesi tanya jawab, saya harap kita semua bisa sampaikan aja, nggak perlu disembunyikan nanti malam nggak enak tidur ya. Jadi semoga nanti sesi diskusinya bisa berjalan cukup dinamis. Nah, kita akan langsung masuk, kita akan lanjutkan ke mungkin kita akan punya beberapa kata sambutan. Untuk kata sambutan yang pertama, saya ingin mengundang Bapak Aswin Indra Prasta. Beliau adalah Ketua Jurusan, panggilnya Pak, atau Kepala Program Studi? Ketua Program Studi Sarjana ya Pak, Arsitektur ITB. Kepada Pak Aswin, waktu dan tempat kami persilakan. Monggo.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Mungkin selamat siang semuanya. Pertama-tama mohon maaf atas kapasitas ruangan yang mungkin dirasa sedikit tidak nyaman karena memang kami tidak menyangka, it is unexpected that we have very large audience like this. Tapi ini menunjukkan bahwa mahasiswa mungkin akan tertarik dengan apa yang akan nanti disampaikan oleh para pembicara. Yang kami undang ada 3, itu dari EE School, alumni EE School. Ada yang sudah sangat senior, Imelda Akmal. Mudah-mudahan beliau bisa segera hadir pada sesi pembicaraan nanti. Yang kedua Mas Andrew Tirta, ini juga alumni dari EE School. Tahun berapa Mas ya? 2002-2004. Kemudian yang paling muda ini Mas Zaki, baru saja pakai toga ya dari EE. First of all, we are very glad and very thankful for your coming. Mahasiswa kita, our student will be keen to learn a lot of materials, a lot of method from you guys, and saya harap apa yang nanti disampaikan di simposium ini dapat menambah wawasan ya, dapat menambah pengalaman tentang bagaimana sih sebenarnya sekolah lain, sekolah arsitektur lain, terutama dalam hal ini adalah S-School, itu mempunyai metode pendekatan, metode perancangan gitu. Ya. Kemudian apalagi saya sudah ingat tapi setiap kali bicara pasti. Nah, ini yang penting. Saya mengucapkan terima kasih kepada panitia ya. Panitia yang sudah mempersiapkan kegiatan ini. Jadi saya bisa katakan EE Visiting School ini adalah rangkaian kegiatan workshop desain yang dimulai tanggal 5 Juli dan berakhir pada tanggal 14 Juli. Jadi simposium ini merupakan salah satu saja bagian dari acara tersebut. Nanti sebenarnya kami juga mengundang rekan-rekan mahasiswa, terutama staf pengajar ataupun praktisi untuk melihat eksibisi. Ya, eksibisi yang akan dilaksanakan hari Jumat tanggal 14 Juli di Galeri Saraswati. Itu nanti akan mempresentasikan apa yang sudah dihasilkan oleh para peserta. Jadi kami memiliki berapa totalnya, 21 ya, 21 peserta yang dibagi menjadi 8 kelompok. Jadi nanti saya sangat berharap para mahasiswa arsitektur di Bandung khususnya itu bisa melihat, jadi bisa mendapatkan apa yang baru ya dari para mentor atau para profesor dari salah satu sekolah arsitektur tertua dan terbaik di dunia. Begitu saja mungkin ya sambutan atau kata pengantar dari saya, dan saya harapkan kalian semua banyak bertanya nanti agar banyak mendapatkan masukan, terutama mahasiswa tingkat 2, 3, 4 ya dari ITB ya. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Baik, terima kasih Pak Swin sambutannya. Sebelum ke sambutan berikutnya, jadi saya mau menjelaskan lagi sedikit tambahan dari yang Pak Swin sudah sampaikan, bahwa sebenarnya simposium ini posisinya ada di dalam acara yang lebih besar ya. Jadi sebenarnya ada mungkin kalian sudah baca juga, sebenarnya isi acaranya adalah EE Visiting School Research Program gitu ya. Jadi EEVS ini adalah sebuah program arsitektur yang sebenarnya udah dilakukan di berbagai belahan dunia, bentuk dan agendanya macam-macam, tapi intinya tujuannya berkontribusi terhadap perdebatan pendidikan lah ya bagi arsitek. Jadi diluncurkan di Dubai 2008. Hingga kini EEVS ini telah melaksanakan 100 program dengan lebih dari 4.000 partisipan. Nah, di Bandung tadi disebut sudah mulai tanggal 5, sayangnya selesainya nanti tanggal 14 ya. Jadi tadi saya sempat bicara juga bahwa nanti tanggal 14 sebenarnya bagi yang mau datang dan lihat presentasinya di Galeri Saraswati, dipersilakan, mungkin bisa bertanya kepada panitia. Jadi EEVS menawarkan 4 jenis program, salah satunya adalah Lokakarya Global Schools di berbagai dunia ya. Dan yang dilakukan di Bandung, EE Streetwear sendiri adalah salah satu agenda yang jadi bagian dari si EEVS ini. 3 tahun berjalan di Penang, 1 tahun di Kuala Lumpur, 1 tahun di Cebu, dan sekarang tahun berikutnya ada di Kota Bandung. Nah, metodologi desain EE Streetwear ini meliti bagaimana komponen teraga dan tidak teraga dari sebuah existing struktur kota menjadi basis dalam kerangka perancangan. Jadi gambaran besarnya itu tentang kegiatan yang sedang kita lakukan. Nah, untuk sambutan berikutnya, saya ingin mengundang Ketua Komite Ekonomi Kreatif Bandung, Ekraf, Ibu Dwinita Larasati. Monggo Bu. Ibu Dwinita akan menyampaikan presentasi tentang Komite Ekraf dan posisinya dalam Kota Bandung ya Bu. Dan sekaligus juga mewakili Pak Vicky Satari, Ketua BCCF, dan akan menyampaikan juga presentasi tentang BCCF dan Bandung Kota Desain. Oke, ya kepada Bu Dwinita, monggo.
Sebentar ya, ada teknis-teknis kecil yang nggak penting. Yang mana sih maju mundur? Selamat siang semuanya, maaf ini rada 1 menit ketunda. Saya Tita Larasati, Dwinita Larasati. In normal life, I'm also teaching here, next door, in Faculty of Art and Design. I'm a product designer. I just came back from a meeting from a faraway building there, so they built us a nice building, 7 stories, but not as lively as this one yet. But I'm also the head of Creative Economy Committee of Bandung, and this was formed in about 2014 because the mayor wanted to have a body of people who is really responsible for the development of creative economy of Bandung. Where will we take the potentials of Bandung in this field? So this is a bit about it. This is and because this was formed by the mayor's decree, so this is a bit like bureaucratic body. So all you can see here is maybe a bit of a boring things. I don't think it's too boring. So this is how we are connected. Sekarang saya ketua yang di lingkaran merah itu. Now I'm the head of the Creative Economy Committee, and one of your alumni here, Sinta, she's here. She's now the secretary of the Creative Economy Committee. How we are connected to the municipal office is that at first, when we were first formed, the municipality has a secretariat and it has the economy department. And because we're under the theme of creative economy, so we are connected to the economy department directly. But since this year, the municipality has a new department called Creative Economy Division. So it's especially, its job is to take care of the creative economy development in Bandung. So now we are connected to that. The difference is, now the economy department is taking care of the policy, and Creative Economy Division is taking care of the budget for programs and activation. So we are better here if we want to run some projects. And now the municipality has a new division called, in Indonesian it's Project BAM. It's actually a design department like curator of the city, but we still have to figure out how they will connect. And what do we do is, we actually connect the aspiration of these lower parties. So we have Bandung Design Forum, which is actually a collective of association of professional designers. So if you heard about HDII, ADGI, ADPII, and IAI, if they want to gather fashion designers and so on, they are gathered in this Bandung Design Forum. And we have also universities, research institutions, and we also have communities, independent communities, and they can all communicate with us, and we are also a part of them as well. So we are connecting this one and synchronizing it with the city program, and that's because we have this is our basic legal base. We are based on the city plan in the RPJM, and we also use this as a reference, so we know which field we are going. I'll just go fast through with this. You don't have to memorize this, but anyway. If we talk about creative economy, usually people are talking about creative industry instead. But creative industry is only this part. Because creative economy is actually the whole ecosystem. So you have to mind about the people, the creators, and the products, tangible and intangible, and there's the market, and there's the R&D process. And if you skip one of these, then it's not a complete system and it's not the creative economy anymore. So why I show this is because the city of Bandung has already produced policies that actually fit this ecosystem. So the municipality already make it easier for startup enterprises in creative fields. Everything is already one door for each policies and so on. So the city has made it more practical for creative people in Bandung to do their business and so on. And we will make sure that this works, and if it doesn't, so we want to find out how it can be convenient for all parties. You will see this graph a lot, because this is actually the formula that we submitted to UNESCO since 2012, that we say that this is actually our main potentials in Bandung. Bandung has no, for example, natural resources. We always import our food from nearby cities, but Bandung is really strong in its people, place, and ideas. The people is because from the 2.5 million people, almost 70% are below 40 years old. So this is a city of young people. It's like a house full of teenagers that can do anything because the parents are outnumbered. So So this is basically what we've been doing. The place itself, Bandung, the size, the weather and so on, it makes it convenient for young people of Bandung to gather and to make plans. And the idea is because we're full of universities. Bandung is home to more than 50 universities, research centers, hundreds of courses and so on. And the intersection yields this built environment with business potentials, active and entrepreneurial communities, and social innovation and economic value. And this is what our mayor always says, that Bandung is a city for young people to enjoy nongkrong or hang out, but then hanging out with results. So we don't just hang out and go home without nothing, but usually we make plans here. And we put this in the middle because we always, in our programs, involve these 5 parties, the academia, business sector, communities, and government, and now we added media, to go through these 3 processes: connect, collaborate, and commerce. What we do now with AA is actually we have passed the connect phase because we already mapped our partners, our colleagues who can work together with us. The collaborate part can be a workshop, a symposium, product development, or whatever it is. And the commerce part, which we will see here, is maybe on the 14th later, when we expose the result or where we start selling our stuff after product development and so on. So why these phases? Because this can be understood by any level of society. So we always take this to kampung or to the global level or whatever, but this actually is valid after years. These are just examples, but you'll see this later. So anyway, these 5 things: creative space, infrastructure, documentation and creative literacy, capacity building, and then event, they're actually our programs at the Creative Economy Committee of Bandung. The blueprints, this is a mapping from the Ministry of Economy Coordination Ministry, and what they map actually we already provide here. And for example, if we do events, it's not just one event and then over, but we want it to be like a series of results from here and here and here. So we first do research on an issue and then did analysis and then did the mapping our partners and so on. And then the event is usually to socialize, to celebrate and so on. So this is what we do at the committee. And this is also make it easier for the city to map the department that has to do with which. So for example, if we talk about creative space, then it's the department for park or department for trade and industry that has to do with it. So whatever we have as a result or a program, then the municipality can take the program and distribute it among their departments. So that's what we do to help them distribute budget, not evenly, but at least it goes to the right places. Because sometimes before this, the government usually have more budget, but then for the same resources, because they cannot map out which holds who. And they sometimes rebutan, yeah, they sometimes claim that this is their part or this is those parts of our task is to make that difference. This a bit of roadmap of Creative Economy of Bandung, and we have a fun disruption here because since 2015 we are the UNESCO Design City, and this is a bit of our program that still have to be formalized. Now that's about Creative Economy of Bandung. So this is like really a body that is formed by the mayor that whose task is to help the city to make policies and to decide programs. Now I'll just move on to my next phase as a BCCF creative. I'm a general secretary there. Now before we start, we'll show a video about BCCF. some of our main programs where we usually map the stakeholders and then do it according to the 3C phases. And as you can see, BCCF is usually producing prototypes for solutions of urban issues, but it should be fun. And what we have in as keywords are design thinking and urban acupuncture. And Hello Fest that just came before, it was about festival. Kampung Kreatif is about urban development in kampungs. Symposium Institute is more about education, and now Design Action is about an international workshop conference that produce innovative solutions through design thinking. This is the last Hello Fest that we had. The main event was gathering creative cities in Indonesia. So we have also creative cities conference in this year, and this is an urban game using QR code, so teenagers can get lost in kampung, but then they can find their way, not only through directions, but also they can show, they can get information about the urban legend around some areas in it. And this is for children, so this is also a design thinking workshop. They have to choose the superpower that they want, either comic or animation or programming game. But then they have to really find out or identify the problem of the city, and then they should solve it in a fun way, their way. This Design Action in 2015, Connected City, is about smart city. So smart is not about how expensive the gadget you have, but it's about how connected you are between the people and the policy people and the government and so on. This is where the president President is running low in battery. But the president visited BCCF. He did this before he established before he established BECRAF, the Indonesia Agency for Creative Economy. And this is just to give a picture about how BCCF is connected to the world before with the bubbles. So now just quickly explaining that maybe this is supposed to be presented by Vicky, but he's engaged somewhere else. So we have been co-creating this city since 2008, and this is us. So we have been doing more than 250 programs that has to do with the city. And these are very diverse people. They're architects, designers, artists of course, but they're also musicians, hardcore environmentalists, IT people, even lawyer and so on. So, but we had to gather if we want to make our voice heard, and we did that. And that's also because we want to live in a city that's present for us, not for UNESCO, not for anyone, but for us first. So that's what we did. This again, and this is a bit of an example how we make change to the city. So in 2008, that place here, this is, maybe some of you remember, this used to be a gas station, and then it turned to the green open space as it planned. But then this place was dark and it has all of negative activities. And the BCCF said then to the municipality, what if we build urban art, public art, then you will attract people with positive attitude. They don't believe us, of course, so we did it ourselves. So this is, we built it ourselves with, hey Buririn. Buririn is also one of BCCF seniors, and she has helped us a lot. So this is made of multiplex and vinyl. And then with our own money. Of course, it come rain, come shine, it got broken, and then no matter. We just chip in again, and then this come up again. So after 2 years, the government finally believes that positive activity changed this spot. So that's what, now they built this with their own money, with the government money, and now it's being changed again, so and so on. This is another spot that we interfere. This is an urban, this is a forest that is located just next to ITB here. But then a developer was about to build a multi-story apartment, which means we will lose the forest. Of course, we don't do protests like burning tires in front of City Hall. That doesn't work. So what we did is protesting through design. What we did was using the UN money, don't tell anyone, to build this, forest walk. Now it's already extended, but before it was only like 20 meters, I think. At least it's a statement that we have, that this is what we want. And then in the end, we save the forest. We make the previous mayor read a declaration that this is actually the world urban forest, so nobody dares to disturb it. This we collaborate with this artist, street artist, with Angkot, the notorious public transport in Bandung, by combining these two to attract people to get interested to take Angkot. This is then later, much later, we made a social experiment to make the Angkot pleasant for everyone. We bought a right to use the 100 units of Angkot for one day. But we make the drivers promise not to smoke, not to stop anywhere they want, not to take the tour without telling anyone, and so on. And it worked out. So during the day, we make research as well, like who's taking the Angkot and so on. Yeah, this is the city for the forest walk that I told you about. Now it's there, but it's unkept a bit. And this is about a river, so people can watch movies for free here with our inflatable screen. But then this is next to Chikapunung River, so it's December, it rains a lot, and it's flood. So if they want to watch the movie for free and to be in a comfy environment, they have to clean it every time the river floods. So it's like teaching them in a way. This is also, this is the same time with the forest. So then BCCF was partnering with UNEP to hold Tunza. So we told, so look, this is 1,200 children coming to Bandung to do conference. It will be boring if they can just go from hotel to the venue, which is Sabuga here, by car and so on. This is an environment event, so they can have a bike to play with. And then it got approved. So at the end of the event, we are left with 400 bikes. And that's what we wanted actually, because then we made 12 spots in Bandung, throughout Bandung. So we can have a bike sharing facility run by community, but for city scale. And now that the head of BCCF is now the mayor, then he's taking it to policy level and do it his way. So we do a lot of things with kampungs and so on for similar results. And this is what we wanted actually when the mayor was still BCCF head and still teaching here as an architecture department. We provided this design for free to the government. So we said, look, under this bridge, which is as long as 18 airplanes, one after another, what if we build this and this and this and this? But then the government, then the mayor then said that, oh, but what if the bridge fall down? So he doesn't believe in his own construction. So anyway, this was what it looked like before. And now that the BCCF head is mayor, these facilities were really built under the bridge. So that kind of changes that we can actually build from the initiative of public. Now it becomes policy and so on. This is the design action. So the community initiative to prototype solutions and so on. This has actually takes us to the UNESCO Creative Cities Network membership as a city of design. The UNESCO said we can provide 3 images in the application. So first, we show that we are covered in Monaco twice, before Kang Emil mayor and after his mayor. This is portraying Bandung creative potentials. And the second photo we submitted is the variation of creativity in Bandung. Interior design, product, music, even food and so on. And the third is some of the infrastructure project that change into urban spaces that is pleasant for people to go out in. So first, this is our angle. What is design to Bandung? That design is not only the physical appearance and built environment of the city, but also the idea that design can be a way of thinking to solve urban issues and manage to create values and meanings according to the actual needs and context. And we use creativity as a strategy to lessen the gap between people and government, people and policy, and among stakeholders. And that we always do prototyping, so iteration of ideas for social innovation experiments to make rapid improvement that can be conducted by citizens at any level. So this is, we are together with other cities in the world, 22 design cities of UNESCO, that actually is the beginning of new possibilities for the city's progress. So thank you.
Terima kasih banyak Bu Tita. Jadi gimana? Terlalu banyak informasi dalam 15 menit. Bu Tita, kalau misalnya teman-teman nanti ada yang berminat terlibat di BCCF, itu gimana caranya, Bu? Tinggal kontak Ibu Tita itu nanti setelah simposium ini selesai ya. Oh, di bawah ini ya nanti. Silakan kontak nomor di bawah ini ya. Oke, jadi kita campur-campur aja ya. Saya lihat sebenarnya saya pikir 90% audiens di sini adalah orang Indonesia, jadi nggak semua akan disampaikan dalam bahasa Inggris gitu ya. Tapi we'll get on with it and start with the symposium as it states in the agenda, and Mr. Aswin also mentioned earlier that we have some great speakers here today. And for the first session, I would like to welcome our first speaker to the stage, Ms. Nayara Vegara. Ms. Nayara she has a diploma of AA School of Architecture, registered architect of Ridwa Patri, PhD candidate dengan di bawah topik streetwear dari Spanyol. She is also director of Metropolis Cities Lab London, director of AAVS Metro Program, master tutor program Housing and Urbanism in Graduate School, AA School of Architecture London, and she is also director program AA Streetwear Visiting School Southeast Asia for the last 6 years. Beliau telah hadir di berbagai sekolah arsitektur sebagai guest critic dan telah menyajikan research-nya akan virtual environments dan proses perancangan dalam arsitektur pada lokakarya di banyak tempat di Columbia, Princeton, Pennsylvania, Taylor's di Kuala Lumpur, San Carlo di Cebu, dan Universitas Notre Dame di Beirut. Baik, so please, Ms. Nayara, you can start your presentation.
Hi, my name is Nayara, and I would like to welcome you to the AA Streetwear Bandung. It's a pleasure for us from the Architectural Association in London to be here for 10 days, 10 very intensive days. This year we are a group of 22 students and a team of 4 tutors. All of our tutors we met in London, but we are from all over the world. Later on you will have the chance to meet them. So I would like to share to you today our journey of having spent 6 years with the concept of streetwear traveling around Southeast Asia. And I will explain to you a little bit about our journey city by city, so you can see how even the methodology of looking at cities has been transforming and developing. But at the same time, I would also pinpoint certain values that we have been capturing through our journey. Before I start, I would like to start also with a video. This video has been done with the Architectural Association, and it represents our 3 first years. Our 3 first years were based in Penang, and this is where all the methodology started to be born, let's say. And after that, we've been in KL, I think it was already introduced, I could understand a little bit, Cebu, and this year in Bandung, Indonesia. So these videos summarize the core of our roots that later on have been developed and evolved. And so let's start with a 4-minute video, and then I will continue to my slideshow. Thank you. The street is where people interact in the city. It's this place where the past and the future are connected. It's where architecture and urbanism have the most creative dialogue. For me, it's in this street where we can capture the character of the place and where we can get inspiration for creating projects for our humane city. Streetwear is an AA visiting research program, and in this platform we try to connect local culture with international creativity, to connect design research with challenges of a real context. Streetwear's design methodology is based on a highly contextual approach. We think through drawing. Our first challenge is to extract the tangible and intangible qualities that form the character of the place. The graphic representation will show relationships, hierarchies, and intensities that will inspire a conceptual strategy to guide the architectural propositions. Is to actually inspire real transformations of places that are in need to reinvent themselves. AA streetwear suggests a way of thinking. Check it works first. Yes, it works. All right, so this was a little introduction for you to have a sense of what we're doing here. So we are actually trying to add this design input to all these sort of like processes of cities that are in need of transformation. Sometimes we forget how our historic and cultural cores are lacking activity and are lacking attraction. And we come as a research group to actually throw ideas out of the box and suggest and really communicate the awareness of these very important places in our cities. So now I'm actually really going to go through the journey of year by year and just really bombard you with images because there's a lot. So I'm sometimes just going to really go through quite fast, but I just want you to understand how we work. First of all, I cannot start at all without thanking, first of all, our knowledge partners that have been with us for actually already 6 years, constantly Think City and Fundación Metrópoli, and our local partners of this year, which have been great, and thank you ITV for hosting us today here. So AA, we come from the AA and we are in London. I think this is very important because we are by nature just an international group that we come with different backgrounds and we come here to actually work as a team. So one of our first things is actually really collaborate with a local platform and actually among ourselves too, and really develop a team spirit to really discover how to tackle each city in different ways, but with the same methodology. So within the AA, we are a part of a program you would have heard many times visiting school. I'll explain you what it is. Visiting school is actually this sort of very intensive workshops where we go 10 days to a different part of the world to really explore a concept or idea. In this case, streetwear, it's about urban architectural and design exploration. So I'm going to explain the journey now. The journey started with Think City and Fundación Metrópoli choosing Penang, but more specifically choosing the city of Georgetown, a UNESCO protected site. This is very special. Georgetown is protected by the intangible qualities that it has, intangible. How can you introduce intangible in a process of design? So this is where we came about to do our explorations. So we believe, like in the video suggested, that not only the hardware, looking at the tangible elements of our city is important, but we should actually start considering software qualities of our city, meaning intangible, meaning movement, meaning behavior, meaning environment. This combination is what we feel that it should be considered in this design process, and we believe that the scale of the street where this activity happens, where people interact, is the right scale to really connect the urban and the local or the architectural scale and really rediscover through this exploration of drawing the character of each place that we go to. So we started 3 years in Penang to really test and discover different scales. Number one started with the UNESCO site, which was really special. Number two started with the urban edge, what is called the buffer zone in a UNESCO zone. And then Streetwear 3 started engaging with water edge, which is very important in these cities that used to have a very important port. So one very important aspect that today you're going to see as we are launching one of our books is that to conclude every workshop, we will make the effort to make a publication. This for us is one of our core principles. We want to share all the ideas that came about. We want to share locally, but also internationally. This is a platform of sharing ideas. So Streetwear 1. Streetwear 1, we worked in a smaller scale throughout the streets of the UNESCO site. And I just wanted to transmit some values. What we are trying to do sometimes is establish dialogues. For example, in this project in particular, we wanted to emphasize some local skills. There's this organization called PAPA that is trying to really protect skills of developing objects, skills just manufacturing. And we were also asked by our sponsor, Think City, to really question larger issues that they were having, like for example, how can we have more friendly streets? So we tried to get an innovative kind of response and mix the two and started to explore the streets. We found a very interesting street that actually had all the temples of various religions in the same street. This is very impressive for us. So we thought, actually, in this street, people from all the communities gather here. So let's do something here that could actually really inspire this awareness, but also we can provide something meaningful that creates an impact with a minimal intervention. So we try to get the existing trees of the street and start shaping this canopy made out of local material and could be done with local skill to really spread between tree to tree and really create a path of shadow and light. This was a way of thinking about a green strategy of a city in a three-dimensional way. They had a lot of problems by planting trees. Well, now we actually tackle more than one issue with an innovative response of understanding the street. Another project happened in Little India when we discovered that the main streets were really working very, very well. But we started to discover that actually people walk through the blocks to actually be move quicker through the blocks. And we started to see potential in leftover spaces between the blocks. We tried to interpret all the color and liveliness that were in the main streets as a reflection. We didn't want to choose a color, so we tried to, in this case, recycle modules of CDs that they had many that they were not using, and actually start investigating scale of patterns that were around us, a scale of modularity, to actually test ideas that later on could be implemented that can bring color to these corridors in a very simple way, so we have actually more secure, more lively, more beautifying streets, but can also create gathering or social hubs that could be used during the day and during the night. In Streetwear 2, the challenge grew. So we went from little streets to actually tackling really problems, or let's say challenges that were coming in the edge between the UNESCO and the rest of the development. This is called the Octopus. It's a pedestrian bridge that is causing a lot of problematic situations in the edges of the building and a lot of insecure spaces underneath. So we went there and we said, what if we can remove this? So we did remove this in our proposal. And we tested a structure that could not only actually take out the obstacle of this environment, but could provide healthy and safetiness in the circulation, and also, why not, shadow pockets and moments to socialize in these spaces. So it becomes a continuity of the street, not a fraction of the street. This is some visions that happened all in the workshop. And also the question of pavements and street textures that we're also exploring the street. This was in the corner adjacent to one of the biggest developments in Penang called Comtar. Comtar is one of the first towers that appear. Comtar has a plinth that is this big. Look, compare the scale of the building, compare the scale of the plinth. This is really interrupting that urban scale of the grain. So we went there and we discovered that a lot of places around this place were really obsolete or had a lot of obstacles in front of it just because there was not street life attached to it. And we would actually get lost. Personally, I would get lost walking around because there was no references. It was very big. So we decided to actually challenge this bigger development and say, what if we think that the garden in the top of the platform could be like a tree that spans its roots throughout the path, and I always find my way. I always follow a route and I find my way, and I use color to identify indoor versus exterior street. And suddenly, like a concept became a color palette, and it became a strategy. What if we relate to the scale of the body? And suddenly this pattern becomes bigger, and it becomes public space, it becomes a wayfinding strategy, it becomes structure, it becomes much more. Penang 3 was experiencing the water edge. As we can see, there is a lot of industrial elements around the edge that sometimes we're in Penang and you forget that you're by the water when you are in the land. There is no connectivity. So this is the first time that we started to have a method of really mapping, because when it was a smaller scale, we didn't need this sophistication of understanding the city. So we started looking at topics, but the main thing was to extract findings, hierarchies, and relationships, like how is the city behaving during the day, so different than during the night. So we understand what are the cycles of this city, what are the rhythms. This is the UNESCO site, very dynamic, vibrant. As we go to the next street, the Colonial, it has a little bit of, let's say, rhythm, but then we go and by the edge, this is what we get, areas with nothing in terms of interactivity with the human scale. So we challenge this by looking at our topics and creating a concept. This is when we started to do very conceptual drawings, mixing connectivity strategies to programmatic strategies that will also be defined at the scale of the architecture, where we identify key projects linking urban to the edge, water, and later on really understanding the impact in terms of mobility, in terms of were the users more local, were the users directed to be more tourists, were we creating spaces for the city, were we regenerating urban environments that could now link to the water. And this is a sequence of just images to really show you the aspect of valuing that sometimes a closed building could be a very powerful project. Lost spaces in the city could become connectors. And sometimes just an edge could become actually a very nice place to be at. So during these 3 years, I love Penang with the art. I use it in a lot of the presentations. We started also to do the books. And I wanted to put just a few photos of atmosphere so you know that actually all of this happened through teamwork. And smiles at the end. So we moved on, and Streetwear Southeast Asia started after these 3 years. We went to Penang. We started first by Kuala Lumpur because our Think City base, we wanted to go to the heart of Malaysia. And last year we went to Philippines, this year we're here, Bandung. So Kuala Lumpur was a very challenging year where we decided together with Think City to choose a building only. But this building is actually very special. It's by Petrona Towers, and actually it has amazing art inside that you would never expect. I was really impressed. This means that local communities are actually going and invading this space, but in a very positive way. We need to embrace this creativity. We need to host them, we need to attract more actually. And this is some of the environment photos. And this is what was happening really interesting. The building could be divided in 3 worlds of three different conditions that as we went up, the building was more obsolete, and actually we could see even more opportunities as we went up. So for us it was like it would be KL all in one building. So it was very interesting, but also very challenging. We started again with topics to map tangible and intangible. I'm gonna just show you void, circulation, understanding the patterns, understanding scale, moments that were very interesting for us that we wanted to highlight, moments that we didn't want to highlight too. And we ended up interpreting the behavior that occurred in this building in order to propose. This is like a conceptual diagram of how we invented a new ecosystem to reactivate this building. So we thought about the mobility, and also let's say the void and the programmatic in order to change from the existing to the new. How can we maybe invade some of the voids, change or insert some programs, some of the units rearranged, so instead of only being maybe retail, we can even produce there and create an ecosystem from work, sell, produce, and really attract an entire new users kind of platform of people here. Some of the projects also included elements of outdoors and more public in the top, so we could have this cycle of movement. And also one important thing was to conceive this building not only for a day use, but also for a night use. Cebu was our last visit. This was the largest urban challenge that we had. We started by this building. This was what I thought we were going to tackle, but then I realized that this was beside the cultural and historic heart of Cebu, and this was happening beside it. So there was the nothingness and then the everything. And then there was these moments of contemplation in these amazing churches. So how can you create a dialogue among these things? So we started mapping. And the mapping, actually sometimes it starts with very minimal observations about understanding who is there. And sometimes just a collage says a lot. And we started exploring how the mobility system works, how the network or the place really defines the profile. And maybe we only find commercial elements, but they are commercial elements that don't inform pedestrian user-friendly, because maybe they sell only tiles. Maybe I cannot interact, my street is not gonna work. So we need to complement other things. And we started also exploring the history and also how maybe activity areas were doing day and night. And through that, maybe typology as well, these kind of conceptions of edge. How can we cross, not cross? How can we invite, attract? And sometimes we had to even make up new ways of mapping and drawing, because the topic required for us to draw it. If we draw it, we can consider it in our project. If we don't have it, we might forget it. We also record sometimes by simplifying. Sometimes our environments are really complex. We need to simplify what is important, sometimes even through model making. Sometimes it's only about classifying, but sometimes it's actually about really drawing the experience. This drawing talks about how green is perceived in an urban environment, how much can we see, so how much green I feel I have around me. This is one of the strategy drawings that we had. We were already here incorporating the old and the new. Our big challenge was the edge, which was completely empty, but we're starting to pick up points where we could elaborate more clearly. So our strategy consisted of various scales, what we call street pockets, or reactivation of public space, industrial fabric reactivation, and finally the iconic element by the water. These are examples of different matrices of variations of our little shading devices. Sometimes to just activate a little corner, it means a lot in a street. So we consider shading and also providing space for people to gather very important in some areas. We also saw the potential of some industrial buildings that are not in use and are actually getting really deteriorated, to rethink what to do with them. And sometimes we really develop them in detail and realize how they could be used, but always not losing the scale of the urban and that idea of how they all can create a greater impact. This was a little before and after. This is our work environment. I wanted to really show that this happens here. But now the icon. So we had a very challenging urban landscape. I'm running out of time. And I just wanted to really emphasize that we were trying to give value to the edge by introducing new, sometimes really embracing what is out there, the Maritima building, and sometimes really enhancing that delicacy between old and new, but proposing projects that really respect what is there and create sometimes even tensions in the experience of how to move around and how to use to actually give quality to that envelope that was there. This, we call it the gem within the Maritima. It was a public place for everybody to go. They were lacking cultural elements, and we proposed them one within their cultural kind of site. These are some renders of conceptual, imaginative, like moments of green, all remaining structures are new. But this is the most important thing about the journey of going up this building and really feeling that old building and then reaching the top. And this was the first connection of actually Cebu to the water edge. So Streetwear right now is here in Bandung, and we're doing pretty much the same methodology in Sudirman Street, and our site of work is right there, so we walk up and down every day. So we know it pretty well. I think everybody there knows us, because they want to take photos with us. And I think I'm in Instagram and my team as well, many ways. But I wanted to really end up, we're going to actually share our research on Friday at 1:30 at the gallery, Sarasvati Gallery. And I just wanted to conclude with 3 slides to summarize, because this is a very long journey, very difficult to summarize. And I wanted to just contrast few images for you. And it's like a streetwear, we believe that we always have to have an urban vision, but we should work at the scale of the street and the experience. And we should also work in the idea of the tangible and intangible, from the conceptual to the specific, but most importantly, share all the ideas and create platforms like this where we can share knowledge, create debate, awareness, and really try to push this sustainable growth of our cities. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Nayara, for the explanation for the streetwear Southeast Asia. I understand that you only been here for perhaps 8 days.
9, yes.
9 days. So, what do you think the most interesting issue here that you found in Bandung, that differ Bandung with other cities that you?
I mean, for us, Bandung became really challenging because it was one of the first urban environments where we didn't have water. Normally, we always had the reference of the water. You go to Penang, you have orientation. You go to Cebu, you also have the orientation, and also they have the fort. There is layers of history that are very different from Bandung. Here we had a very big anchor that we really admire, which is the mosque and the very nice plaza that has a lot of social encounter. But for us, this idea of reference it has been very challenging in this workshop.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Nayara. And Ms. Nayara also mentioned that every year the AA visiting school team always made publishing, right? Always made a book as one of the output. Okay. After in the end of the first session, we will launch a book, Streetwear Cebu. But before the book launching, I would like to invite Ms. Jiaping. Ms. Jiaping is from Think City. Ms. Nayara have already mentioned that Think City is one of the knowledge partner of AA Visiting School. So, Ms. Jiaping. Ms. Jiaping will explain about Think City.
Thank you. I like it how technology likes to interrupt. So I am an interrupter, and my name is Jiaping or Ping, and I am the program director of KL in Think City. So I'm going to go through very quickly 90 slides in 15 minutes. Start your clocks now. Okay. So kalau bisa tak faham, you can just say slow down, and I will slow down. Yeah, so I know that ada ramai sini yang tak boleh faham English dengan mendalam lah. So we are a subsidiary of Khazanah. Khazanah is the sovereign fund of Malaysia, and we are funded by Yayasan Hasanah, which is the foundation set up by Khazanah. So if you look at the circle, inner circle, we are driving urban regeneration, we have urban policy thinking, and we look at innovative solutions. And everything outside, yang di luar, is our tools. We call them as our tools to actually implement and achieve our objectives. So we have 3 implementation drivers. The first one is grants. So kita ada grant, so we give money, bagi wang untuk community dan untuk setiap orang yang ingin memperbaiki bandar. So we give it to anyone. As long as you're a resident and you have a bank account in Malaysia, of course we have to see you can spend money lah, you know, wisely. That you're not going to membazirkan duit kita lah, duit rakyat. So so yes, we are quasi-government. The money that we give is duit rakyat, okay, wang rakyat, as they say in Indonesia. So we have a public grants program. We also have a partnership with local government and city councils in wherever we are, and we have partnerships with corporations and organizations, and I will explain more. So our international experts, when we started with a blank slate, dengan tabula rasa. We knew not very much, and we are a learning organization, and we always go out and seek from experts, international experts, to teach us what we don't know. So we're very thankful that we have people like the Aga Khan Trust for Culture. Then we have Project for Public Space, ini di Amerika, di New York. And we have, of course, Fundación Metropoli, Getty Conservation Institute. Getty Conservation, they teach about conservation and preservation. Yeah, if you want to know more, you can go in there and also look at the Australian Burra chapter about conservation. We also, of course, we're here because it's an architectural visiting school. So these are some of the people who have taught us a lot. Ya, kita banyak belajar daripada expert-expert di sini. So the story started in 2009 in Georgetown, Penang, when we got the UNESCO World Heritage Award. So inilah gambar Georgetown pada 2008. Okay, usang, yeah, very usang, bangunan semua usang, and it all looked very, very bad, in a state of decay. So there is no point getting this award that is very, very prestigious, but we have decay. Yeah, so we knew that we needed to actually fix Georgetown. So we looked at apa strategi untuk membaiki Georgetown. So one of the things we looked at was destination branding. Yeah, destination branding is how do you brand the city? And before you brand any city, you must understand what is the soul of the city.
Yeah? What is the heart of the city? So for us, we came up with the soul as hub and home. Hub is, we are a center that has many connections to the world. Yeah? For 500 years, we have been a trading hub, a printing hub, communities hub from diaspora, from everybody from India to Pakistan to China. So we are a hub, and we've also become everybody's home. Yeah, this is the heart of Georgetown, hub and home. And for that, we came up with 3 criteria of proving or demonstrating this hub and home. One of them was heritage, culture, and cuisine. So the first thing we did was we did a values-based approach. Yeah? And one of the things we said was we do not touch intangible heritage. So Nayara talked about intangible. The first thing that is very valuable in Georgetown is, you boleh tengok ini, kita ada banyak gerai-gerai makanan di street, right? Di jalan raya. So this is an important intangible heritage. Apabila you masukkan semua gerai-gerai ini dalam bangunan, pasti mati. Okay, the business always dies when you put them into a building. Yeah, so the soul is gone. So what we did was we said, first value is we need to respect and preserve this heritage. Next, we looked at how are we going to make change. When you go and do change, especially when you're not government, it's very susah, very difficult. So what do? We do acupuncture, small things. So in Malay, we have this proverb to say, sikit-sikit jadi bukit. Yeah, small things it becomes a hill after a while. Yeah, so this is our philosophy. Sikit-sikit jadi bukit lah. So one of the things about how do you build bukits, how do you build hills, is you put people in the center of everything. Yeah, so you are very important. Setiap orang boleh mengubah destinasi. Yeah, tiap-tiap individual. So this is what we say. Every individual has the opportunity to change, to make change. Right? So what we do is, number one, is we engage with the community. We tell them, this is our plan, what do you think of it? You suka plan kita atau tak suka? Kalau tak suka, kenapa tak suka? And then we will take in all of your viewpoints and we will go back and rework the plans. Okay. So next, this is what we did as an example of case study with a park called Armenian Park. This is the park where we nickname Thieves Market. Yeah, market pencuri. Okay, so ada kata kalau you sudah hilang punya kasut, you boleh beli sini kasut you. Okay, if you lose your sneakers, this is where you come back and buy your sneakers, right? So, but also this has become, unfortunately, a place where people also sell drugs, right? So what we wanted to do was to make it safe again, and we spoke to everybody there. We went down on the street. Ya, tak ada meja pun tak apa. Asalkan ada lantai, we're on the street saying, okay, what do you want? What do you want? And this is what happened. We built this, right? But when you build it, it's not enough. Yeah, it's not cukup untuk bina sahaja. You have to program, because a space is what you make of it. But in Asia, you have to demonstrate. Yeah, because people are not very malu lah. Ya, tak nak lah, nak buat, nak pergi mana. So you have to show them what you can do. So we are showing them you can also have music in the park. You have music underneath the, Tita was just saying, have music underneath the bridge. We have music in the park. But we also understand when you put in money into a city, you're looking at gentrification. Gentrification, unfortunately, is one of the outcome of regeneration. So we said, how do we stop or reduce gentrification? Is we try and keep original tenants in the building. So we then facilitated conversations between tenant and landlord to say, please don't raise your rent. So when we went in the first time, they had never seen their landlord. First time in 5 generations. Sudah 5 generasi tak pernah jumpa landlord. Okay, so when we went in, we said, please don't hike up the rent. So they said, okay, we will double up the rent. Which I double up, yeah. Tapi rent asal is 200 ringgit, and they doubled it to 400 ringgit. But the value is 3,000 ringgit per month, right? So that was a good, compromise. So we gave a grant to the owner who bought this building, and it became like this. And this was the inside. 7 terraces. We also gave a grant to this building, and this building, the landlord wanted only to give 3 years. And the tenant said, if you give me 3 years, I'm not going to invest money in. So we went in and we spoke to each party, and in the end they got a 20-year lease, and it became this, right? And also, we gave money to buy tickets for Georgetown Arts Festival, and Georgetown Arts Festival was created by the then mayor, the then head of Georgetown World Heritage Inc., who said, arts equals soul. So she then asked us to buy lots of tickets, and we gave away tickets to students. Belajar macam you lah, semua. 60,000 ringgit worth of tickets almost every year. So with this, we had more than 200 projects from 2009 to 2013. And then we were all ready to tutup kedai, right? Because we had only 4 years. And then the government said, no, you did so well, because for every $1 we spent, we got a co-investment of 2.25 ringgit. So what happened? So then we said, okay, we will go and expand. But we also started getting mentions in New York Times. We also then got mentioned Georgetown as world's top 10 best city to visit in the world. From Usang kepada ini. I mean, for us, that was a real accolade, but we don't rest there. So this is actually one of our vision board. When we were envisioning in 2009, we said we wanted to achieve a Best City Award, and it took us almost 8 years to get here. So now we are in 4 cities: Georgetown, Butterworth, Kuala Lumpur, and Johor Bahru. And so we went from 4 orang, 4 people, to 38 people in 2 years. And it has been a big shock. So, and this is KL. Wherever we go, we always draw a boundary. Kita lukis sempadan, and how can we then change that area inside? So if you look at this is our acupuncture. What we want to do is in 10 years, double or triple the dots. Each dot is an activity or a site or a monument that we have preserved. So this is what we want to say. We want to use, just like Budita, how are we going to put the creative economy and the creative into the city, which is also very usang at the moment. So this is one of our projects. This is Medan Pasar. This is Medan Pasar, the original pasar of Kuala Lumpur, right? So it went from this in the 1940s to this in the 1980s to this in the 2000 and to the noughties, is what they call it, right? But if you look at it, ada banyak orang tak? Tak, right? This is biasa. Okay, so you spend money, you build, and then very, very mewah and cantik, tapi tak ada orang, right? So you build it, but they don't come. And so what do you need to do? We need to then, what we call, do place making. So what we have done is we have been testing this as a lab. People say, there's no point, alah jangan pergi sana lah, buang duit, buang duit saja. You're wasting money, you're throwing money, because people will not come. And this is what we did, and we had 20,000 people come. So the idea is really, the proof of the concept is, if you don't have anything, people won't come. But if you have compelling content, people will come. Right? So this is some of the photos of people, teaching Bharatanatyam to tourists, and we have all of these activities in there. Right? We also have wayang and wayang kulit. We also have bicycles. We are trying to actually encourage more people to ride bicycles in the city. And this is very important. Think City on its own cannot do anything. Yeah? Where Think City actually is very, very powerful is in their partners. And by doing this, all these events, we get to actually grow our partners from very small to like hundreds of partners. And then we give money to these hundreds of partners to come and activate the city. Yeah? So this is a site when we got a lot of grant application. They said, I want to do this theatre, I want to do this workshop, I want to do this. And I said, you ada tempat nak buat semua ni tak? Then they said, no. Then I said, macam mana nak bagi you grant? So, you know, how am I going to give you money if you have no space to do all your workshops? And then we said, that is a problem we need to solve. And we rented the second floor. It's called Ruang by Think City. And it looks like this. Yeah, it's a beautiful building with gorgeous light. And we can do this with it. Or we can have dinner. This is Valentine's dinner. We funded this. And all the meals is cooked by Syrian refugees. So this is a social enterprise called Picha Project. They have chefs from Syria, Myanmar, and also Cambodia. So you can choose who cooks your dinner for you, and that they get money to actually grow their family and feed their families. So we also use this to do workshops. This is a women's aid organization workshop for abused women. And we also do nationwide movements through collaboration. This is with the people who run our LRT stations. And what we're trying to do is to make an LRT station into a theatre. And we call it Arts in the Move. So this is an LRT station. Okay, it looks cantik tak? Gambar ni. Tak, right? Boring kan? Very boring. So we've turned it into this, right? We've turned this into this. And this is part of the things. We have a 200 feet tunnel and we change it every 2 months. We also have, we work with children and their artwork goes on the wall as well. So it is about belonging. It's like, hey, tengok, my art is there. Look at this. Yeah, my art is there. So she said, hey, my art is there. Tengok. So that was, and we also then connected with a community on Facebook with 9,000 members. And we asked them, sila conteng on our wall. Please doodle on our wall. And then we had live doodling. Okay. So this is also an example of the live theatre that happens every Tuesday and Thursday, 5 to 7 p.m. in Masjid Jamek LRT station. Dance. It's from Japan. So what we want to do is to share all sorts of the arts with the normal Malaysians, right? Because they don't have money to pay and go to theatre. So we want to say, this is free for you. We want to say, art bukan sebagai elitis. So this is from Borneo, Sape. So basically, you know, we have over 10,000 commuters who watch every day, and we have 90% of them have watched theatre for the first time, and they would watch it again. So what we're doing is building an audience for the future. So we plan it like theatre. We also have monthly calendars, and we bring it out. So our grants program in Kuala Lumpur, this is our STAR program. This is an old printing press that is now being used, adapted and used. So this was one, and this is now a coffee shop. This is, we gave money for the planting and doing this, right? And this was the car park, and it's now a park. And this is now a co-working space. And this is now, you know, it's a Malay architecture house, which is a restaurant. And we also gave money to transform this old building into an arts hub. So we have, and we also give the people who go into the space entrepreneurial matching grants to start up the business. So we give the owner building money, and we also give the people who go in money. Best up, guys. Okay. So this is in Butterworth, and this is an installation that we funded. It became so popular that the owner is keeping this. We were supposed to de-install. He's keeping it and building around it now. So, we've introduced an element of art in Butterworth. This is Butterworth Art Walk, how we can transform lanes, as Anara said, how do you transform an unused space into things. We've also transformed a really dirty lane. There was drug stringers and all sorts of unmentionables there. When we cleaned it up, we also then started planting urban garden. This is another urban garden in a low-cost flat, public housing, and we have actually given each plot to, they draw lots to get their plots, right? These are the penghunis there. And we also make sure that we work with City Council and tell them, you need to talk to your people. Before that, City Council was, I tak nak cakap dengan orang lain. I just one day announced this is what's going to happen and that's it. But we said, no, you should actually engage. So this is how we start to engage. We got experts in to advise them on their projects. Yeah, so this just opened, Lama Medan Tuanku. We encourage them to design, their own architects to design their own projects. Previously, they were subbing it out to architects, consultants, but then we said, no, we want to build your capacity. So this is also Wisma Central. We were doing a placemaking workshop. This is engagement workshop with our Australian consultants. And this is a little lane in Bukit Bintang. When they went into the lane, our local council said, I tak nak cakap dengan migrant. I'm not speaking to the migrants. If they walk through, I'm not going to speak to them. And then guess what? Semua orang yang pass by, migrant. So they had to speak to the migrants, and they learned the migrants have been there for 8 years and they knew the history of the place. Yeah? So everybody has a right to the city. Yeah? Not just Malaysians. So we also have Think Squad. We work a lot with students, and these are some of the work that we do. Right? And these are some of the exercises that we do. We also have a archaeological dig in Fort Cornwallis, Penang. And we've got little school children to come and also dig. Right, so this is part of our Think Squad school program, and we have architectural schools as well as junior schools. And you can go into this site to see more work. And really, it's all about people, right? People make things, not us. So I invite you to think as big as you can, but act small, sikit-sikit jadi bukit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. No, my most important question is, if I lose my sneakers, where do I go now?
Okay, thank you for the explanation on the Think City. We don't have a Q&A session for the first session. The Q&A will be, we will do the Q&A session at the end of second session. So now for the end of the first session, we will launch the Cebu streetwear book, Maya Angry Week, perhaps. Could you help me with the poster? Okay, so for the book launching, Ms. Nayara and Ms. Ping will sign the poster. I would like to invite Paswit. Oh, okay. I would like to invite Ibu Ririn. I think they'll give the previous launch book to Ibu Ririn.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoy. Come closer to us for the photo. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Ibu Ririn. Okay, and the book launching marks the end of the first session. So now we will have a 10 minutes break after this, and we'll continue with the next session 10 minutes after this. So it's at 3:45 we will start the session juga. So bagi teman-teman yang akan menunaikan ibadah sholat asar ini mungkin dipersilakan. Tapi kita akan start tepat waktu. We will be start the next session on time at 3:45. Okay, thank you for the kind attention.
Iya,